listen, if another group comes to you and goes, I will give you $100 million more, are you not likely to take the $100 million more? Like, Ryan Reynolds isn't the be all to end all here to sell this hockey team, is my point.
I agree. And I know we're hearing numbers of 850. I think it's going to be probably, to be honest, north of that.
Yep.
When all is said and done. And I don't know how locked in, at least from what I'm hearing, Ryan Reynolds is with the Remington group. If it is another group, I believe there's an opportunity for him to get involved in that. So whoever ends up being the final, and we're still probably a month away from getting close to the I guess final lap of this, but still somewhat early. I think they start to narrow things down in about a month. But I don't get the sense that it's exclusive to the Remington group. I think the NHL would like to, and has made that known, that they would explore other avenues if it's a different group with respect to Ryan Reynolds' involvement.
I think you're bang on, Dave. I think Ryan Reynolds is probably the most likable guy right now on the planet Earth. If you see he's just that guy, that personality. I think it's going to be no different with whoever gets the winning bid here. Reynolds can easily shift over with that group, and I think no matter who gets it, he will be involved with this team. It's I think the NHL wants it. He wants it. I don't see a situation where it doesn't happen.
The NHL better want it, quite frankly. I mean, he's exactly what they need to not only be part of the market, but just league-wide. It would be pretty stupid if they decided to turn their back on this opportunity.
That being said, though, there are other celebrities who will want to be involved with ownership, whether or not they're qualified. I'm not sure, but we've heard of groups in LA and whatnot, right? So there are others who can sell the game. I do understand that Ryan Reynolds is like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Like, everybody loves him and wants to be part of that. I get it. But I'm thinking there's got to be others available, if you will.
Yeah. Well, it's the intangibles that he brings, right? It's the production and the behind the scenes stuff and everything that he wants to do with the Sens and with this buying process and all down the road. It's all that exposure that comes with it. But you're right. I mean, there's celebrities that own pieces of teams across the league. Seattle's got a bunch of them.
Yeah, Snoop
Vegas Golden Knights have a bunch of them. Yeah, there's a few others that have little pieces here and there. Now, his involvement clearly seems to be more polarized because he is going to be that face of the franchise kind of thing, or at least that's what's being portrayed.
Yep.
Plus all those other, production stuff. Some of the other guys are a little more hush hush, but there's a bunch of actors and actresses and recording artists and all kinds of stuff that have pieces of teams. I mean, in pretty much every sport, the NHL included.
So it's interesting to watch.
So Dave, here's a question for you, and I'll ask you how much you think this is worth. How many Twitter followers do you think Ryan Reynolds has?
Well, yeah, that's I don't know. He's what, like, I'm gonna guess in and around 10 million. I don't know what the biggest guy is. I have no idea.
20 million.
Okay.
20 million followers, and Instagram I think is double. I think he's around. I think he's 49. It's so, like, what's that worth in today's new world of
right?
You want to get to people and you want to get your message out to people as fast as possible. Well, that's a lot more powerful than a commercial that people have people are choosing to follow Ryan Reynolds. That's a lot of power.
What's the NHL's following on either of those two platforms? Because I guarantee you it's not close to that.
Let me do some research here and check it out.
But this is what the league wants and needs. Whether and to have those types of. That's why I think we're all in agreement here, at least with what's been floating around, that he'll get involved in some capacity, and the NHL should, without question, push that as much as they can. I mean, LA uses, for example, and yes, it's a little easier because there's so many more celebs there, but LA uses their celeb fan base more than pretty much anybody. And whether it's Will Ferrell or Snoop or whoever, and it adds to the other elements and adds to the social platforms and adds to the excitement that fans have, and maybe you catch a few more new fans as part of this game too. And selling merch is not it makes it nice when you got a guy like Reynolds backing it.
Yeah,
Ryan Reynolds has 48 million Instagram followers.
That's pretty, yeah.
So
that's about 47,900 whatever more than most of us.
Yeah, yeah, just a few. The same with the New York Rangers, though, right? When you go to New York,
right? Yeah,
you're always looking to see who's in that section behind the bench. What group is it that's sitting there tonight? The entertainment value.
I'll give you my restaurant analogy again. I always bring everything back to restaurants.
Which I still don't understand it, but go ahead.
Well, everyone wants to go to the restaurant where everyone's at. Where, hey, this celebrity goes there, that guy goes there. Hey, we went. Did you see who was at the restaurant? It's the same thing, man. People like to associate with a person like Ryan Reynolds. It's the same thing. It's why do you think it's the way it works.
Yeah, I went to a Ranger game once, and there were a bunch of different celebs, and I'm like, whatever. And then Robert De Niro was there, and I lost it. I was like, all right, that's cool. I'm in the same. I think it was a Cup final. I'm in the same building as De Niro. We're watching this. This is cool stuff. And I mean, that's kind of the takeaway for a lot of people. I mean, that was more impactful for me than I couldn't tell you who else was. There were a bunch of others, but that was the takeaway for me. So for people to see a guy like Ryan Reynolds, like that game he went to in Ottawa a month or so ago, whatever it was, like the amount of play that got alone was huge, and the fact that the people were losing their minds when they saw him. That's just a huge takeaway for a lot of people when they go to these types of events.
Yeah. No, well, hey, for one night on the on Jimmy Fallon's show, the Ottawa Senators were mentioned, and so too was a little suburb of Ottawa called Vanier. Two things I never thought I would ever hear mentioned on the Tonight Show: Vanier and the Ottawa Senators together, and Ryan Reynolds. So he brought all three together.